Hey guys, so today's video we're gonna talk all about expanders. Earlier in the clips, or maybe I'll put in the clips right now. Yeah, I'll put in the clips right now of me going to the hospital and getting them filled. Okay, so I'm in the waiting room. I just wanted to give you guys some updates as far as the visit that I'm having today, which is gonna be like the expanding, I think. Oh my gosh, you guys, today I'm so tired. I think it was a couple days ago I felt, yes. Today we're expanding. I was gonna say, I do see my skin kind of, I want to show you, but this disgusts me. So when I saw this, everyone says it looks good, but like you definitely see some shrivel in the skin. And I'm assuming that's natural because, you know, obviously it was big and now it's kind of smaller. Skin, right? It's elastic. How cool. I mean, it doesn't really hurt because I don't feel anything. Do I not feel anything? Yeah, I definitely don't feel anything. I'm supposed to feel pain because it's a needle, but I won't feel pain because I've had a mastectomy. See how that goes? Also, I've been updating my Instagram as far as like me going to the hospital. So if you guys are interested in that, go check that out. But again, we're at the office and it all looks the same over and over. But yeah, take it from a girl that hates needles. The expansion was not bad. You literally, like, if you've been touching yourself kind of in that area, like all I really felt was like a little, it was getting heavier, but like not like heavy like a brick or anything like that. And I didn't really feel pressure as she was filling it. I was scared of like the needle part, but obviously you don't feel anything. I just completely looked away. And it just feels like when they put in whatever they do, it just feels like if someone's just touching it. She just like touched it for a little bit, and that's when they put the machine on me to suck out all the air and put in the saline. So it really wasn't bad. And this number's like, all the doctors say like it doesn't really mean anything. So I guess just be aware of that, because it's really more about the shape and blah blah blah. I don't know when, it's different on everybody. They just kind of replaced what I had before, which was 200 air. That's how much I had. I don't know what that means. So now it's 250 with the saline. Definitely feel the shape a little bit more, at least when I was laying down of the implant, like kind of on my ribs, but like nothing bad. Like if you put your elbow near your rib lightly, like it already went away. I don't feel it anymore, but it's just like if you just put your elbow on your rib like a little bit, you know, something a little harder. Right now I'm looking so symmetrical and I want to show you guys, but my doctor's supposed to come in a little bit, so I don't want to show you guys. I do think the whole thing of like it was really small and like the skin was shriveled at first, that was kind of gross a little bit, but now that it's like more filled up, I'm like, dude, you look like a normal boob. Like if anything, you look better. It is currently Saturday and the clip that you guys saw was Friday. I got my first fill. If you guys are totally confused and don't even know what I'm talking about, depending on the surgery and what you had, what kind of cancer you had, whether or not you had the breast cancer or BRCA gene, when you get a mastectomy, you could either go direct to implants or first to expander, then to implants. I had requested to go a little bigger so that the size could be pretty even, and that is why I have an expander, and also because there was a possibility of radiation, and when you have radiation you don't want to have implants, you want to have an expander for science purposes. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I did get my expander. I remember watching a lot of videos on YouTube. If you guys haven't seen a lot of the videos on YouTube, I mean, I feel like there isn't really that many, honestly, but that's typically like where I go when I'm looking for a similar experience, just because like I don't personally know someone that's had a mastectomy, especially like none of my friends, you know, like at 24 or just anywhere in my age group, and I had a single mastectomy, so I just have one expander on one side. When you do wake up, you do have, you know, something there. It's not completely flat, which is actually good. The first week I really didn't feel too much pain, and I remember watching like I was saying earlier, when I would watch the YouTube videos, it seemed to me, at least in my head, like after crying and whatever, they had not even just a horrible experience, but it was just like hard for them to live with. Like it seemed difficult, like it seemed manageable, but I was like, what does manageable mean? And I'm gonna keep this video lighthearted because honestly I feel like, obviously this is all my experience, so this might not be you. I feel pretty good from a scale of like 1 to 10, maybe a 2. And maybe if there's pressure on it, maybe like a 3. And that's just because I'm almost a full month out. I'm like 2 days till it's like a full month since my mastectomy. The expander, I'm going to show you what it looks like and all of that. So what does it feel like? What does manageable really mean? Because when women said that, I was like, I know that my pain tolerance is pretty high, manageable, I can totally do. But as far as pain, and I remember like on the groups that I was in on Facebook, one lady had said, like, because I asked her about the expander, because no one was really talking about them, but I asked her, like, oh my gosh, like, how was the expander, blah, 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 or how's your expander? And some women have it for months, and I thought, like, I didn't know for how long I would have mine, but I was like, what if it's for 3? What if it's for 6? Like, it'll be horrible. And she had said, honestly, like, mine doesn't really bother me too much like how other women say. I remember being like, oh my gosh, like, what if that's my reality? And even actually as I'm saying this right now, me reflecting back, like, it's crazy how, like, all of this is horrible, right? And I'm not saying that the mastectomy and the being diagnosed and having the surgery was easy peasy. I'm just saying the amount of time frame and mental strength that you get from, like, crying, building yourself up, feeling down again, crying, building yourself up, and then crying again, like, all of that, like, gives you enough strength, like, for me in my experience, to experience all of this. Obviously I still have hard times, but I'm just kind of like trying to lay that out for you guys. How do they feel like? So the first week I didn't feel that much pain because you are on painkillers. After like the 4th day, I think I stopped taking my painkillers. Like, the fact that you can't go to the bathroom after having full meals is crazy for like days on end. But over time you start being able to feel them a little bit more, right? And you do feel that pressure, but it's nothing like, it's not like, for me, it didn't feel like I was being like squished or suffocated or anything like that. And maybe it's just because I didn't really have that much chest to begin with. I just gave some food to my sister's dogs. So over time you start being able to feel, I would say it's like, imagine just you doing this. That's kind of what you always feel. Like that. I don't know how to explain it. The first 2 weeks, like, it hurt a lot here, and it still kind of does. It is like tender, but it just really feels like someone's putting pressure on here. And I mean, it's not like someone's like grabbing it or anything, it's just like pressure, and that's just kind of how you feel the whole time, and that is the shape of the expander ultimately. I did mention this in my other video, but like, you see the ridges at night, you feel the ridges. I'm so lucky because, and I'm going to take this off so you guys can kind of see, but I'm so lucky because for me, the ways that my doctors did it, they really used, I forgot what the name is, like, hopefully I'll put it up on the screen, but basically, like, it doesn't just look like skin and then an implant. It looks, right? Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? It looks like actual tissue. And I know it's still because I'm swollen, so over time that might go down and it might not look like that, etc., etc. The feeling is not too bad, especially a month out. Like, you just want to kind of lightly tap, I would say, because it is kind of numb, but it's the weirdest thing. It really does, like, especially on the sides where they put, it's basically like they put in your implant and they wrap, this is what they said, like, as in a joking, lighter way, the doctors, I mean. They put something that's kind of like the Pillsbury dough over it. It kind of looks like that. It kind of looks and feels like skin, and that's kind of what you're feeling. I remember someone had said that, like, your muscle tissues goes up to here, like, pretty high, especially mine because I had masses up here. It goes up here and even all the way back here, but I don't feel pain back there nor here or anything like that. I just feel like tender, and it feels okay to touch it like this, but it's just tender. That's what I would say that they feel like. It really does feel like you're wearing a push-up bra and you're trying to touch your boob. Like, that's literally what you feel. What does it look like? I wanted to show you guys this. My breasts were uneven, definitely. When my implant was just filled with air, the expander, I mean, it didn't like feel too hard or anything, or too heavy or anything like that. I didn't think so personally, but you can see the skin is like a little shriveled, especially in the incision. And that's good because your skin's elastic, right? And I guess that's kind of what it looked like, a little shriveled in the incision. And then as it's growing, obviously so is your skin, eventually to get to the size that I want. But I want to show you what they actually look like. So from the front, they look like this, and this is with one fill, which isn't super off, but you can kind of see that, like, mine is like a natural slope. This one is like a perfect smaller chest. It does have a little ridges just because that is the shape of the expander. I would say that the expander definitely feels like a grapefruit. I don't know. Kind of like a grapefruit, honestly. Some areas are soft, but then some other areas, like, it's hard. Recently they expanded it, and what did that feel like? I did feel pressure, but only towards the end. I remember she's like, if you feel a little bit of pressure, just let me know so I could stop feeling it. And I remember thinking like, and I remember telling her like, I don't really feel any pressure at all. What they do is they suck out all the air that you had, which I had 200 cc, I think that's the right terminology, and then they replace it with saline. So 200 saline cc, I don't know, and we wanted to go a little bit more, so I had 250 cc. Once you got to like 210, 220, I did start feeling a little bit of pressure, but only on this area, so basically this part of my incisions, because if you didn't know, this is gonna sound scary, but I promise it's not as scary as it sounds like, and I hate like all medical needles, all those things. They do sew this on to create a pocket. So they do sew this expander onto your skin. So they did it yesterday as far as filling, and today is the next day, right? Just so we have like some context. That's how we're looking. Once we get a natural size, a similar size to what I have here, I know that it won't look alike at all. And like I'm into fashion and I want it to look as symmetrical as possible, you know, for me and for my mental health. Personally, my decision, personal, I'm thinking I will go a little bigger overall. Nothing, you know, super big, but just my opinion, I just want to go a little bit bigger just to make them as symmetrical as possible. This is basically the same size, but they still look a little different. They look so similar, but they still look a little different, and that's kind of hard too. Like, I don't want to always look in the mirror and be reminded of what was, so if I can get them as similar as possible, I'm gonna do that. So yeah, if you had a single mastectomy or a double, but like a single, I didn't see anyone on the internet talking about it, so I feel you. What did the expansion feel like? Honestly, they were expanding, didn't really feel anything. She's like, oh my god, that's so great, based on your recovery, you know, we thought that you might feel like that, but basically what they are doing is I have a port right here. It's like a metal port, and I was like, where is it? Like, I didn't even feel it before, but yeah, I have a metal port right here. They kind of connect a needle or something to replace the air, to put in the saline, and that's how they're doing it. They're just filling me up. I want to show you one thing to take into consideration if you have expanders. Don't exactly look at the shape and think that that's how it's always going to be. It's just really about the roundness, the fullness, because the expander actually has like ridges in it. So I can definitely see them and feel them, but see them in my chest, and it kind of like, at first it looks like bruising. On the top, there's like I've never seen this in my body, but there's like an indent, like it's like an indent on the top. So let me see if I could show you. Yeah. So like, do you guys see that? I don't know if you can kind of see, there's like an indentation. It's very subtle. And another thing is, I'm taking a leave from work because this MD Anderson is 3.5 hours away from where I live. I kind of wanted to see out like, what is the plan here, because I do have to eventually get back to work because I only have a certain amount of time before I'm not paid anymore, basically. I showed a picture of how I want to look, and I could change my mind at whatever point. I was told by my plastic surgeon that probably with the next fill we'll get to the desired shape, so my boobs will be uneven once again, because they were smaller than this size before. So once again it'll be uneven, which is not a big deal, just because I've already had it like that uneven for a couple weeks and it wasn't that big a deal. I really thought that was going to be a challenge, but it's kind of like not, it doesn't really bother me that much, honestly. She said that she would try to book my surgery for my exchange surgery, so I'm not really sure when that is, but I know that that is coming. As far as posture, because it's so tight, I remember like literally out of the hospital I was like hunched over the whole time, and maybe it's just because of my digestion and everything. I remember having horrible posture, and then over time like being more confident to be able to kind of stretch this area out because it is sewn in. Posture is another thing that you really want to look out for, just because there's so much uncomfort and you can start getting bad posture, but I really try to work on it. I'm not the best at it, but I really, and if you're going through a similar experience, it's something that I think that you should also try to make sure that you are attentive at and paying attention at, because you don't want to have bad posture. After I had my surgery, I remember I felt out of breath. You do feel that pressure, but I swear to gosh, you guys, it's not like you're dying and you can't breathe and you can't get out of bed. That's just like not how you're gonna feel the whole time. Like over time, pain levels, you'll just get used to all of this, which is where I'm at right now. Week 2, even, I would say I was doing fine too. Like I was healing a lot better, and I was like, oh my gosh, who knew? Like it wouldn't be that bad. First week and a half, I was experiencing out of breath, which I did mention to my doctor, and my doctor said if I had had my period right when the surgery had started, which I literally did, which is crazy to think about because I had just started, and like my second day is always the worst, and during surgery that would have been the second day. Like, how do they do it? I remember I kept asking everyone, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be my surgery. I'm aware that they work with fluids and stuff, but I was just like, am I just gonna be bleeding all over the bed while they're working? They're like, why is she bleeding? Ultimately, like, I guess because you're under a lot of stress. My period lasted 2 days, which that has never ever happened to me before. But yeah, I was out of breath, and he said that could have been one of the causes. Try to eat more iron, and over time, if it does get worse, to let him know. And over time, it actually got better. Obviously, I can't like lift heavy things or anything like that. I remember I had fast reactions to things. Like, it's almost like, imagine someone was doing your hair, because this actually happened. They drop something here, and your immediate reaction is to get it, but then you remember that you'd had the surgery. So I do remember like kind of doing that and feeling kind of a little bit of like, it's like you're still in pain, so moving fast and doing that like does not feel comfortable. Up until like this week, I would feel pain around here, which again is where they sewed you, but they sew you all across, right? So I would feel pain like here, and right now I could still feel it, not too bad, like I'm used to it now. It's not bad, I promise. When I wake up, I can feel it the most. After a long day doing errands, working hard on the computer, like let's just say you work a couple hours on the computer, like you do feel the pressure, you do feel the sewing, and it's not like you're gonna bawl your eyes out, but it's just like, I do not want to do anything anymore. Leave me alone. I can't really do what normal people do, and I keep forgetting that I can't, which is crazy how your mind's just like, okay, let's do all these things, and you can't. So I mean, be realistic about your goals, and I have videos where I kind of like show you like my experience, like trying to live my life, but forgetting that I can't just pick up and start where I left off, lifting and running and doing downward dog and things like that. I have not even tried running, but I mean, eventually I would like to, and I couldn't tell you guys how that pain feels like over time. But yeah, in the mornings I feel the pain, but like literally at less than 5 minutes, the pain kind of goes down. And I want to show you my mobility as far as my arm. We're on week 4, right? Basically week 4, 2 days away from week 4. And this is how far I can go. Let me try. I guess I'm just stretching at this point. I do feel some pressure here as I'm going backwards, but nothing too bad. I guess like my face just kind of goes in like that, and it's important to keep stretching. Also, I just feel like my plastic surgery team is incredible. Like, I feel amazing about what I look like, but I do want to check back in like 6 months when a lot of the swelling has gone down, because that's another thing. Like, obviously I'm sure I have swelling here, but I have so much swelling here, like a lot of swelling here. Digestion is still bad post mastectomy, and I really can't fit into pants, and that sucks because I didn't pack too many pants. I really only fit in 2 dresses, and I only have like 3 dresses. We're talking about mental health now. I think it's hard to just like isolate this situation alone, just because mental health is hard having gone through cancer. It's kind of general. Like, I'm doing fine. It was hard for me to look at that area for the longest time, only until like I fully saw it in like bright lights when I got my fill, and she's like, look in the mirror and see how you like this shape. I felt really definitely proud, but also just like amazed. I do want to say like the shape, and you know how I was comparing and everything, like the implant does actually drop a little. It still won't look like this. If you've had a double, you're gonna be fine. It's just like me overthinking, kind of like, oh my god, the shape, this and that. And it is because I'm young, but also because I'm an artist. I'm not sure if anyone knows that about me. I see a lot of things visually and through color, and actually I like doing portraits of people. Like, that's my personal thing, and body shapes and things like that. I see that a lot. I can see a face and kind of not really see what's wrong with it, but kind of can see the structure of it, and I like to compare and contrast and blah blah blah, and like the bodies, and you know, this has that and whatever. So like for me personally, because I can see my body so well, I am pretty judgmental about it, which is something that I'm working on, and it'll just be like a lifetime work, especially now just because I've gained so much weight post that surgery, because you're just like laying down a lot and you can't really do much exercise, and then I'm gonna have another surgery, and then of course I'm gonna be on tamoxifen, so there's that. I have to remind myself that this is temporary. just like everything in life, but this specifically will definitely be temporary. You know, that's another thing that you could also remind yourself about. The next surgery that I will be having is when they're gonna put my, like, exchange this temporary implant and then put in, you know, my final implant. And then they're gonna put a mini one here. That's gonna be in one surgery, right? Which is gonna be pretty soon. The next surgery I'm supposed to have where they're gonna do a nipple, because I don't have a nipple, which honestly I could show you guys on screen what it looks like because I don't have a nipple, but I think I won't. Maybe in the future. I just, like, YouTube and its rules are kind of weird. I mean, technically it's fake, but I don't know. I don't know the rules with YouTube fully. Maybe I will one day on somewhere. In addition, I think that that's when they would do fat grafting if I need it. I think I'm like, oh my gosh, I look great. Like, I don't think I need any fat grafting. But I'm sure with time I will realize, like, oh, the swelling went down. It doesn't look as great as it used to right after surgery. As far as, we're going to end the video now, and I just want to let you guys know that thank you so much. You guys had left comments in my video that I actually just posted a couple hours ago, like not even that long ago. And it's like the sweetest comment ever. I haven't been able to reply. And also, you guys, I see like all of your comments. Sometimes I'm not able to reply, but I do see them all. She said something about like emotional scarring that you get after cancer, and that's definitely something that I'm still going through. And even if as I have to go into my regular life and everything like that, emotional scarring, it means so much to me that you guys are so supportive. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want to see more from me, please like and subscribe. I post every Mondays and sometimes Saturdays. I will see you guys super duper soon. Don't forget to like. It helps me out so much. And yeah, bye you guys.